Good morning, everyone. We now have from the Montreal Alouettes, Senior Vice President of Football Operations and General Manager Danny Maciocia, as well as Head Coach Jason Maas from the Montreal Alouettes. To ask a question for those here who just joined, please raise your hand. And if you'd like a follow-up question, please do so. If you have additional questions, please add it to the queue. We also will be recording the availabilities today. With that, we will begin with Dan Ralph. Please go ahead.
Morning, gentlemen. Jason, I just wanted to maybe pick your brain about the decision to give up play calling and how that was if that was a difficult decision, because it's something you've done throughout your head coaching tenure.
Yeah, I mean, I did it in 2017 with Carson Walsh, and
Okay.
Obviously was very close to Jordan Maksimic, in Edmonton towards the end of my tenure there. But didn't quite give up the play calling to him, but we worked hand in hand with everything. And then obviously in Montreal, the idea when I first got hired with Danny, I told him my thought process would be at some point I would relinquish the play calling, at a time and place that I felt comfortable. And obviously working with AC and the staff over the last 3 years has been seamless and awesome and been a great experience. And I knew we were going to be in great hands when that time came. And I felt midway through the year last year, I talked to Danny and felt like it was time to go in a new direction. And, AC had proven himself to me and done such a good job with handling the offense, the installs, the putting together, the collaboration with the whole staff has been just amazing. So relinquishing the play calling at the end was the easy part for me. And then from there, I'm still involved with it, felt comfortable with it. And to me, obviously, we culminated with a Grey Cup appearance. So obviously, I felt like it went pretty well.
Going to be tough to give up, though. I mean, I'm just thinking old dog, new tricks on the sideline. You're going to be going and then realize, oh, shoot, that's not my call.
Well, no, I mean, obviously, I think as a play caller, you're so involved in the game. Obviously, the whole week as it's going, as you're putting the plan together, you think about. I mean, it's hard because as a head coach, you're thinking about everything, but you still have to really think about your play calling and how you're going to go about it. And in the course of a game, every series, you're constantly analyzing the game and thinking about every single play call you make on top of trying to manage the game. So that won't change. I mean, I'll think of every call that's going, and obviously have a different conversation going with AC and the rest of the staff as they're calling it, but it'll be completely hands off. And obviously I'll be intrigued as the calls are being made. I'll have pretty good insight of why they're being called and which ones are coming. And obviously AC does do a great job of involving people and talking through the series. He's great at just focusing in when it's time to call it. But in between series, it's nice to be able to talk and discuss things, and that won't change. So that's what's good. So I'm still involved and still enjoying it, and it'd just be a different experience come game day.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Dan. Justin, go ahead.
Danny, I'll start with you. How did signing Dustin Crum come to fruition?
Well, obviously it was a priority for us during the off season to make sure that, we had some depth there, but just not depth. We wanted to make sure that we had someone that had a fair amount of body of work in the CFL that started games, that's won games, and that fits who we are as far as identity is concerned offensively. So, we had a list of 2 or 3 guys that we were looking at. Obviously, we worked in conjunction with our coaching staff, in particular, Jason and AC. And, we put in the work, obviously, leading up to free agency. So we had about a couple of months of work that we went back and watched. I know I did for about, I think, the last 2 years and studied them in detail. And then we had some dialogue within our organization with our scouting department and our coaches. And we came to the conclusion that of the list of 3 guys that we had, he was at the top of the list. And this is the guy that we were going to make a run at. I don't have to tell you the importance of having a number 2 guy, because number 2 can be number 1 real quick. And I know that Wally keeps talking to me about this, Wally Bordeaux. You need to have a number, well, a 1B or a number 2 around that's going to win you 2 or 3 games. And that's been the case with us here the last few years. And it's probably been the case with a few other teams in the CFL. So when we were able to land him, we felt pretty good about having a viable option if ever called upon.
Jason, what did you like about Dustin Crum, and is his style similar at all to Davis Alexander?
Well, I'll say this about him. I mean, the one thing that stands out to me with Dustin is toughness. I mean, he has the ability to stand in the pocket, absorb things, move around a little bit from there, but he is tough, mentally and physically, watching him play. That's one of the things. Winning on the road, he's been able to do that, which is that, again, it goes to your toughness. I do like the way he throws. I know he's just gotten better and better as I've watched him play in the league. And the experience factor, when we're talking about having a guy behind Davis, we need a guy that can go in there and win a game on the road if need be, win a game in a tough situation, stand in the pocket, be tough, run the ball if need be. Dustin will compete on every single play. That's one thing I look at him. That's what he just competes on every single play. Doesn't give up on anything, and that is very much like Davis Alexander. So when I look at that part, the toughness, the competitiveness, those two attributes absolutely stand out, and I think they're extremely important to have the quarterback position.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. John Hodge, go ahead.
Thank you for doing this, gentlemen. Hello, merci. Question for Danny, and a bit of an administrative question. How is it that the Alouettes came to host this year's training camp in Quebec City at Laval?
We had a deal with St. Jerome, which was a 2 years and an option, and unfortunately the option was not picked up by either party, and it gave us an opportunity to take a look at where we wanted to hold training camp, whether we wanted to keep it within the city, whether we wanted to take it elsewhere. And we've been talking about this for a while, that this team belonged to all Quebecers. We've had it at Sherbrooke, we've had it at the Saint Jean sur Richelieu way back when. We've had it at Three Rivers. We've held it in Saint Jerome, and it was time for us to take it to Quebec City, where we think there's a passion for the game of football. You take a look at what they've done. With their university team, the Rouge et Or, and all the CGIPs that have football programs in that area, and high school programs that are doing really, really well for themselves. And we felt, as far as installations are concerned, you're as close as you're going to get to a pro environment. I know Glenn for over 35 years, so he understands exactly what we're looking for out of a training camp. And when we reached out to them in the span of, I would say, 3 weeks, we were able to work out a deal. I've visited them the last 3-4 times here over the last couple of weeks, and I'm excited about going down and sharing our team with all Quebecers.
I know you can't speak, obviously, on behalf of the league or prospective ownership, but Quebec City has been rumored as a possible expansion destination for decades. As someone who knows Quebec football as well or better than anybody, do you see this moving in a positive direction towards eventually potentially CFL expansion?
Well, I don't know what's going on at the league level, and I don't know what level of interest, if there's a group or if there's an individual that wants to bring a 10th team to Quebec City. But it would be by far, in my opinion, the best option that's available. Just take a look at that whole province. There's an attachment that they've got, especially that city, with their teams, whether it's the Rouge et Or, whether it's their baseball team, Les Capitales, whether it was way back in the day with their hockey team, the Nordiques. Look at their junior team. I think they average about 12 or 13,000 per game in the Rampart. So they take they have a particular attachment to their teams, and they're passionate. And I can just imagine the rivalry that would exist between Montreal and Quebec City if that ever came to fruition. I think it's a great option. I think it's one that would definitely work. They've got, it's a market that that supports their sports teams, and I think it would be a great fit for the CFL. Now it's just a question of whether there's enough interest there to bring a team, And but I would think it would be a huge success in my opinion.
Merci.
Thanks, John. Fred, go ahead, please.
Yes, thank you, gentlemen. I was wondering, well, my distinguished colleagues had me have more questions than I had first. A quick one at precision, Jason, if I may, on the play calling. Is AC going to stay on the sidelines, or is he going to move up in a box?
He'll be. I'm assuming it'll be up in the box. That's where he's been the last couple of years. I think he sees the game very well from there. Mike Leonello and I are on the sidelines anyways for for his eyes down there, and Davis stands next to me after every series and talks to me, so you can easily translate between him and AC. Plus, there's a phone on the sideline, so I think it's pretty calm and easy up there. There's not much going on weather-wise as well. I mean, cold wind, rain. It's easy to keep your notes about you. And Dave Jackson's right next to him up there, feeding him all the information he needs to as well. So I think it's worked out quite well with him. He was a little concerned when I put him up there, but how much we do talk. I don't think anybody realizes the conversations we have or the collaboration that's gone on for the last 3 years. He sees the game extremely well, and it's pretty easy to see if there. We give him a different perspective on the sidelines, but I think it's better for him to be up there. Now, if he can convince me that it's better for him calling it and he has a better feel for it on the sidelines, that'll be up for discussion. But I think he did a great job last year calling it from up there.
Yeah, it's quiet as long as you don't sit him beside Herb. I sit 2 spots beside Herb, and it's not quiet over there. So make sure he's far away from Herb on the
Will do.
Danny, une question pour toi. À cette étape-ci, là, avant le combine comme ça, qu'est-ce que vous allez chercher? Une confirmation ou chercher une surprise qui vous a peut-être échappé dans votre travail d'évaluation?
Fred, moi, je dirais que c'est ces jours qu'on a devant nous qu'on va être capable de confirmer certaines choses. Mais moi, je vais mettre beaucoup de mes énergies dans les entrevues. Parce que c'est sûr que nous, depuis une période de temps, on regarde des films, on se base sur 2-3 ans de films qu'on a devant nous. Mais c'est une autre affaire quand on s'assoit avec ces gens-là, puis on se donne l'opportunité de les connaître, puis de voir s'ils sont un bon fit pour nous avec les Alouettes de Montréal. Alors, c'est pas la dernière fois qu'on va leur parler. C'est sûr qu'il va y avoir d'autres rencontres virtuelles, mais de bien connaître le monde qui sont ici, puis ça va faire partie de notre évaluation.
Maybe, Jason, the same one for you at this stage, just before the combine. What are you looking for? Confirmation or looking for surprises from players that might have eluded you in your research so far?
I think a little bit of both, to be honest with you. A little confirmation, and then anything that surprises you, anything that stands out, whether that's in an interview, you listen to a guy's story and, something really hits home with you about the type of person or individual he is, how the guys, I think what's cool about the combine is you get to see them in a lot of different lights, and you get to see every action, every movement, every interaction, and see how they react to it. These drills, they haven't put on pads for a while, and all of a sudden they're doing it. I just want to see how they react to a little adversity and the experience in it itself, and how they do talking and interacting with people. So, it's a little confirmation with the film you've watched, but I will always say their film doesn't lie. Their film is truly who they are. This is just a little bit of a test, that doesn't have to go extremely well for me to change my decision on who they are.
Thank you. And one last one, if I may, for Danny. Vous vous déplacez beaucoup au Québec, comme tu expliquais tantôt, pour les camps d'entraînement. Là, vous vous retrouvez à Québec cette fois-ci, qui est quand même à 2 heures, 2 heures et demie de route, selon que le pied plus ou moins pesant de votre marché. Est-ce que ça vient pas un peu confirmer votre besoin d'avoir une place à vous autres pour justement pour arrêter de dépendre? Là, il y avait une option à Saint-Jérôme. Je comprends que c'est les 2 parties qui ne l'ont pas mise en application. Mais vous étiez aussi tributaire du changement d'administration municipale de ce côté-là, qui sont peut-être moins entichés de football pro que l'autre l'était avant. Est-ce que ça vient pas un peu confirmer votre besoin d'avoir une place à vous autres, justement, pour pas avoir à vous expatrier comme ça?
Ça serait toujours bon d'avoir une place chez nous où on peut avoir des installations qui peuvent se permettre d'avoir notre camp d'entraînement à domicile. Mais ça n'enlève pas le fait, Fred, de partager cette équipe-là avec tous tu sais, le Québec en entier. Parce que je pense que même avec ces installations, je continue de dire que cette équipe appartient à les Québécois et Québécoises partout, partout. Puis nous, ça fait du bien de sortir un petit peu, pas seulement de le partager, mais même comme organisation, de vivre d'autres choses ailleurs où on peut s'isoler, on peut être concentré. On sait qu'on a 3 semaines de camp d'entraînement. On est conscient qu'il y a 2 matchs en concours. J'ai pas besoin de te dire l'importance d'un camp d'entraînement. Ça donne le ton à la saison. Alors, il y a des décisions à prendre. Puis des fois, de sortir un petit peu de Montréal, puis tout ce qui vient comme peut-être de distraction chez nous, mais on n'a pas besoin de vivre avec ça ailleurs. Alors, oui, je souhaite qu'on peut avoir des installations, que si jamais un jour on décide de garder ça chez nous, on peut le faire, mais ça n'enlève pas l'opportunité de le partager, cette équipe-là, avec tout le monde.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Fred. Felix Scally, please go ahead.
Salut Danny. Des noms comme Sankey, De quoi, même Austin Max, c'était des gros morceaux de l'équipe, des morceaux qui parlaient beaucoup, qui s'impliquaient beaucoup. Comment tu vois le visage du leadership évoluer cette saison? Est-ce que tu t'attends à ce que d'autres joueurs step up?
Oui, oui, écoute, moi je pense qu'on a un bon noyau. C'est sûr qu'on vient juste de perdre quelques effectifs, que ce soit à la retraite ou peut-être ils vont jouer ailleurs, mais je pense que notre leadership est très forte. Puis le noyau est de retour. C'est sûr que ces gens, les noms que tu viens juste de mentionner, ils vont avoir des opportunités d'avoir d'autres joueurs qui vont occuper ces postes-là, puis occuper un petit peu plus de leadership à l'interne de notre vestiaire, que ce soit un Cantarcu, que ce soit un Snead, que ce soit un Phil Pott, un Speaker, puis il ne faut pas oublier non plus que probablement un de nos plus grands leaders, c'est notre carrière en Davis Alexander. Concernant la profondeur à ces postes-là, écoute, même avec le départ de Dequoy, il ne faut pas oublier qu'on a Hamlin, on a Beauchemin, on a finalement été capable de convaincre Sutherland de faire partie de l'organisation en 2026. Alors, je pense qu'on a un bon noyau. Je pense qu'il y a de la profondeur. Je pense que le leadership est très fort, puis ça nous donne une opportunité à d'autres joueurs de s'établir à l'interne de cette organisation.
Merci. And for the both of you guys, how exciting is it to have a guy like Jonathan Sutherland come in this year? And could you see him replace the Qua at safety?
I think it's extremely exciting when you draft a guy a couple of years ago and really high up in our books that year, and obviously watch the journey that he's been on, and now it's with us, and I think you got to have some excitement about that when you draft players and you look at how our team's been built. It's been built through the draft and from Danny and the staff finding guys. So I think we have a pretty good track record of finding those players. So I think anytime you're getting a guy that was down south playing and comes up, I think that's always a welcomed addition. Obviously it's going to be a great competition at free safety. So that's probably the place that he starts, or at least starts the journey there. But I think he's pretty multifaceted. And I do know where he will make an impact, and it'll be on special teams as well, because we're a team that wants our best players to be playing special teams. And when I watch this film down south, he was a special teams demon too. So I don't think he's going to just be a guy that's just going to be comfortable playing one thing. I think he's going to be the type of guy that wants to impact our team and do what's best for our team. And that's everything I know about him, that I've talked with him and we've talked with him. That's what he's all about, is team and winning.
Yeah, and I
You
mean,
guys-
from where I'm sitting, like I said, I'll let the coaches decide where he'll play, but all I can say is that he was worth the wait. We're excited about having him in Montreal.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Felix. Rashad, go ahead. Rashad, I think you're just on mute there.
Sorry. Oui, Danny, tu parlais de la possibilité d'une équipe à Québec. à quel point le PEPS pourrait être une solution temporaire? Tu penses que c'est viable à long terme ou il faudrait qu'il y ait des ajustements majeurs ou une nouvelle construction?
Ah, écoute, là, c'est pas. Moi, je suis un dirigeant, je suis sur le côté football. C'est sûr qu'idéalement, si tu me poses la question comme tu es en train de me poser, c'est sûr que j'aimerais penser que ça peut être temporaire, puis je souhaite qu'un jour qu'il peut avoir peut-être un stade à Québec, puis un autre stade à Montréal, que ce soit le stade olympique ou d'autres options. Mais je pense que quand je regarde le contexte de Québec avec l'équipe collégiale, le Rouge et Or, l'équipe secondaire, je pense que ça peut être un stade qui peut être partagé par plusieurs équipes, puis peut-être même une équipe de soccer ou une autre équipe, une autre discipline différente. Mais je pense que l'appui, le support, puis la passion que les gens de Québec ont pour leurs équipes sportives va être présent, puis ils vont les appuyer, ils vont les encourager, ils vont se présenter. Puis je peux seulement imaginer quel genre de rivalité il peut y avoir entre Québec et Montréal.
Le match hors concours, Danny, en 2005, entre Ottawa et les Renegades à l'époque et les Alouettes n'avaient pas suscité un grand intérêt. C'était juste un match hors concours. Penses-tu que le marché est davantage prêt ou qu'est-ce que tu vois qui serait différent maintenant que c'était à l'époque?
Il y a plusieurs choses qui sont différentes. Tu regardes l'équipe actuelle des Alouettes de Montréal, les 3 dernières années, on a participé à 2 Coupes Grey. C'est une équipe qui gagne des matchs. C'est une équipe c'est sûr qu'il y a eu du succès sur le terrain. C'est aussi une équipe qui a un visage, Richard, un petit peu différent de la dernière équipe qui a joué un match en concours à Québec. Tu regardes le nombre de Québécois qui font partie de l'alignement des Alouettes de Montréal. Tu regardes aussi au côté dirigeant le nombre de Québécois qui font partie de cette organisation. Alors, je pense que les gens au Québec peuvent se identifier à travers de cette équipe-là. Pas seulement les joueurs qui souhaitent un jour de jouer du football professionnel pour les Alouettes, mais même des gens qui souhaitent un jour de travailler pour cette organisation. Alors, je pense que c'est 2 équipes complètement différentes, 2 organisations complètement différentes, puis je pense que ça parle beaucoup aux Québécois.
Mais le Québec comme tel, en quoi que c'est différent pour une éventuelle équipe d'expansion pour connaître un meilleur succès qu'on avait vu à ce match hors concours-là? Puis,
moi, je pense que c'est le Rouge et Or, c'est tous les amateurs, c'est tous les gens dans le domaine des affaires qui je pense qu'ils vont s'impliquer dans ce beau projet d'amener une 10e équipe, en particulier une dans la ville de Québec. Puis je pense qu'avec cet appui-là, je vois pas pourquoi il peut pas avoir du succès. Regarde les autres équipes que vous savez, que ce soit le Rouge et Or, que ce soit les Capitales, que ce soit les Remparts. C'est des équipes il ne manque pas de support. C'est des gens qui sont très fiers de ces équipes-là. Ils sont bien appuyés. Alors, je ne peux pas croire qu'une équipe de la Ligue canadienne à Québec ne peut pas fonctionner.
Merci, Danny.
Thank you. Justin, go ahead.
Danny, could I ask you to translate everything that you just said into English?
I can't even remember half of what I just said, to be honest with you. Maybe Richard can do it for you.
I think you were talking a little bit about Pep Stadium.
I just said it's a great market. Take a look at their other sports teams that they have there, whether it's the Rouge et Or, whether it's their baseball team, les Capitales, they call themselves. You look at their junior hockey team, their Remparts. There's nobody that gets 10, 11, 12,000 people per game for junior hockey. So they're quite passionate. They're proud people. And there's no question in my mind, with the right support, that it could be a viable option having a 10th team in Quebec City. And I can just imagine the rivalry that it would create. It would like being going back in the good old days between the Nordiques and the Habs with Quebec and Montreal. So I think it's a viable market. And football in Quebec City, everybody talks about the Rouge et Or, rightfully so. But how about their CEGEP programs? How about their high school programs? I mean, they develop a lot of good kids. We've got a couple on our football team in Delaire and Quentin Arcu. I mean, before he got a scholarship to go down to Syracuse, and there's so many more. So I think it'd be a great fit. And now it's just a question of whether it works for the league and whether they can find a potential buyer, I guess.
I think Richard's first question might have been about the stadium there. Was he asking your opinion if the stadium could house a CFL team?
Yeah, I mean, ideally, you would like to have a stadium there. I would think maybe not at the first couple of years, depending on if this comes to fruition. I mean, would they start playing at the Peps and then eventually, transfer themselves or move to a stadium? But I would hope that the stadium would be multidimensional. It wouldn't just be a football stadium where, the whole community would benefit from it. And if it's the whole community that benefits from it, it makes it a little bit more of a valid argument to build one, I would think. Instead of it becoming a stadium that holds maybe 10 events, it could be a stadium that holds many more events. But that I'll leave that to the politicians, whether it's the city, the municipal government or the provincial government. That's above my pay grade.
It seems like there's a suitable stadium right there, though, in Pep Stadium that could easily expand. Would you agree?
Well, it seats about 12,000 people now. So what I remember when I used to coach there against the Rouge et Or, and they would have 18, 19,000. There's a lot of people standing along the track and in the end zone. So they would have to do something with the stadium itself, whether they would have to renovate it and add additional seating and maybe temporary seating, and maybe that ends up being their home. I don't know. As far as the infrastructure is concerned, Justin, I don't know about all of that. As far as the level is concerned of interest, and I think it would be a huge success. There's no question in my mind that that's a football market.
I'm curious, Danny, if through planning to take training camp to Quebec City, if you talk to Jacques Tanguay, because he said a couple of years ago, and he doesn't speak in the media often, but he said, we can't even think about a CFL team here, and he didn't think that there was the infrastructure there or the private sector appetite. Do you think his stance has changed in your talks with him?
Well, I haven't spoken to Jacques in the longest of time. I know that we've exchanged a couple of texts a few years ago, but we never talked about, like I said, infrastructure as far as that's concerned. I do know that, him and his group, what they've been able to do in Quebec City has been unbelievable. If Quebec football is where it's at today, it's not the return of the Montreal Alouettes in 1996. It's what the Rouge et Or have been able to put in place. I think they've been the driving force behind the success of football in the province of Quebec. And you just take a look at the institutions now that have football programs in the province of Quebec. Look how many are the number of full-time coaches that are earning a living with football in the province of Quebec. Even CEGEP coaches that are full-time coaches, and this is all because of what Jacques and his group were able to put together. Now, as far as the infrastructure is concerned, again, Justin, I can't speak intelligently on that topic.
Thank you, Danny. Appreciate your insight.
Thank you. Last question, JC Abbott, please go ahead.
This one's for Danny. Tomorrow will mark the 1-year anniversary since Mark Waitman stepped down as president of the Alouettes. When that new leadership structure was announced, one of the things that was laid out in the press release was that it was supposed to help return the Alouettes to profitability. I'm wondering, what can you say in terms of the progress that has been made in that direction? Are the Alouettes closer to profitability now than they were a year ago?
We are definitely closer. We are extremely close to breaking even. The new structure is one that's been in place, like you said, it's been about a year. It seems to be working. We're aligned. Everybody's got a role. Everybody understands what their role is. Obviously, I've got a particular job description here with the general manager's job, but I understand what I can bring as far as value add into the community. So am I also involved on the business side? Yes. Am I also involved on the corporate sponsorship side? Yes, I am. Do I go out and speak to groups and to people? And I do so. This is more than just a general manager's job for me, due to the fact that it is my hometown. So I understand what the expectations are. But that's been well defined when we made the moves we made about a year ago, and it seems to be working as we're speaking.
In your personal conversations with Pierre-Karl Péladeau, has he laid out an expectation or a timeline for when he wants that mark of profitability achieved?
No, he never mentioned that to me. The only thing he's mentioned to me is that he loves this football team and it'll remain in his family for the longest of time. It's not going anywhere anytime soon.
You're still confident in his level of investment in the football team. You don't think anything has changed on that front?
I'm beyond confident.
Thanks, Danny.
Jason and Danny, thank you so much for your time today. Good luck the rest of Combine.